Hello guys, welcome to part 3 of the jQuery SmartWizard. Part 1 and 2 I have run through how to enable SmartWizard and also how to add the bootstrap controls for the SmartWizard. So now in this part 3 you would learn how to add the PnPjs and enable them in the project and create the list item, save it in the list. The bootstrap controls which you have added in the part 2, those details will be saved into a list item. So let's start with the project. So if you see here, this is my organism list which I have created under the animal taxonomy. It has several columns. So from the PnPjs, I'm going to add item into this list. So these are the fields which it has, and the same field is kind of created using the bootstrap controls in previous session, part 2. You can see here, maybe I'll run the command just to show the part 2. Okay, gulp serve is ready. Let me refresh and add the SmartWizard. Okay, so this is about the part 2 which we finished the last time. So now I'm going to wire up these controls to save it into the list item. So to start with, let me this one. I'm going to run the PnPjs command, NPM Package. This is the command you should run to install the package into the project. Let me wait for it to complete. Meanwhile, when it is installing the package, I'm going to the main web part control, and I need to add the steps to import the PnPjs. Once it is imported, then you can start using it. It's a default process which we used to do it in every project for PnPjs. Okay, the PnPjs is completed. Now I'm going to import the main SP into the PnPjs, and once it is imported, the second step is to initialize the context of the SP. So for that, you need to add the code inside the onInit method. The onInit method should initialize the SP context. Let me add onInitialize, probably here. Yeah, onInitialize has been added. So now it will initialize the SP context, and later we would use this for the PnPjs. So now what I'm going to do is, in part 2, we have added all the HTML control inside here. So now I want to remove this HTML and put it in a separate control or the module. Having it as a separate module or a class will be much easier. So I always create a new module within this. So I'm going to create a new file which is animal, what do we call it as? Wizard, maybe animal wizard html.ts. So this file would contain I would shift the HTML code which is here and the SmartWizard initialization into this control, into this class or the module. So now what I do is, to start with that, I need to first import the PnPjs into here. So I'm importing the PnPjs, and I'm going to import the SPFx. Let me from okay, so I'm going to import it from the previous module, and the name would be SPFx props. This is to get all the properties inside this class. Then later I would set it in the SmartWizard. And also I'm going to export iOrganism, which has several properties as well. And I would create one class. Let me create a class. Export default class. Maybe organism class. I call it as organism class. Okay, this is my organism class. It would have one public member which has a template HTML string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer the HTML from here to the class there. That becomes much easier. Instead, you clutter everything into one class at the web part level. So you can reuse in case if you want to have it. So I'm just going to put it here. Okay, so this is done. And now I need to create a method which can be called within the main web part. So I'll create one public static. The method would be like get all organisms, or maybe what I do is I put it as initialize controls. Okay. So the initialize controls, it should get the properties. Maybe I should say props, which is SPFx props. So I should get this property to set it into a SmartWizard. So all the property I will pass in. So I'll have to transfer the code from the main class into, I'll cut from the main class and put it into my another class so that I can pass within that. So the properties it is passing now, you no longer need that. Okay, that's it. So I now moved all the implementation here. So here I should, what other things I should move? That's it. Yeah. So these main things I have moved in. Now I need to import the new class or the module into, maybe I'll give it as import. What is the name I want to give? Probably I'll put it as animal HTML, maybe import or organism HTML. So org HTML from / what is the module I have? The animal HTML. Yes. Okay. So the R HTML is the class which I have declared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the HTML on this. I've declared it here, and I'm going to call the method initialize controls. So the initialize control get the properties, so I just have to use this dot properties. That's it. So now I completely transferred the code into a new class. Hopefully it should work. So basically I'm just having it as a new class, and this class will initialize the property and it will set it into the control. So now the same code but slightly changed, the same UI but slightly the changed code. That's it. So hopefully it should work. Let me wait for it to build. Build is completed. Let me refresh. There should not be any change. Hopefully the code works. Okay, there is no change for now because I just moved only the HTML. I didn't wire up anything yet. So now everything is fine working. Now I'm going to wire up with the PnPjs. Let me stop the code. Method to wire up those controls and insert an item into the list. To proceed with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare a function. Maybe I call it as it has to be static. Maybe the submit function, which is a TypeScript function, and this function, it should call the PnP method, which is, I have declared already the sp. So sp.web.list method, and you need to get the list first by, in my case it is title, list by title. So you get the list first with the title of the name, which is the organisms, and after you get the list, you need to add the item. So items.add. Okay, so items.add. So items.add, within the items.add, you need to pass let me put it here. Okay, so within the items.add, you need to specify all the columns to be added in a kind of a JSON format. So I have several columns which I mentioned you. So what I do is I'm going to use jQuery method to pass the values. So for example, these are the columns which I have. Title column which I have, which comes from this field, which is a bootstrap control, or it's a normal HTML control wrapped around with bootstrap. It has an ID org name. So if you go back here in my HTML, it has already been declared in the step 1. In the basic settings of the step 1, you see here. So this is the input method, input control from the HTML control, and it has ID org name. So I'm just using the jQuery to find out this ID and getting the value .val. So similarly for all the properties, for all the controls, I'm just getting the value by the ID and passing the val to it. If you want to pass it to a picture control, you have to pass it in this format, which is a description and the URL. So the URL which I'm taking it from the other control. So this control will have the full path only when it is uploaded. So I'm yet to wire up that upload control. So later I'll go through how to upload, make the upload control functional. So for now I'm getting this uploaded picture path, which is again a HTML control once it is uploaded on the step 2. So if you go to step 2, this is the uploaded picture path. And once it is uploaded, I'm getting the uploaded path and then just setting it here. Okay, so this is the insert method, the items add method. So once it is completed, it is a promise kind of. So completed, I'm going to get the output of that method, which is nothing but the result. The result would be like more of, usually they use IAR, item add result. Okay, so this is the type which it is returns, and this is a function which will be like this to show the output. Okay, so probably for now, usually I use the bootstrap control, which is a pop-up control, to show the output. For ease of use now, I'll just add an alert which says that successfully added organism, which is from the output of the method. There is a data plus the title. Okay, so once this is successful, what it does is it will return you the title which is added, and I'm just showing alert, which is a JavaScript alert method to show the title. So that's it for insert method. But if you notice, let me go back here. But if you notice here, I'm getting the value. These are the straightforward fields, which is like the text field. So there is not much of code you need to write. Just call the jQuery API. This is again a area field or the text width field. The problem comes only when the file upload field. So whenever you need to upload a picture for the organism, you need to select a picture and you need to upload. Once it is uploaded, you need to get the full path of the URL which it is uploading. Then you can assign it to your control. So now I am going to work on this file upload. Okay. So to upload a file, again, I'm going to use one of the PnP method. Let me go back to the code. So let me go back to the code, and then I'm going to start programming with the HTML control first for uploading a picture, because remember, the Bootstrap already has a function. Let me do it after here. So for example, let me go to the Bootstrap. Remember in last part 2, I mentioned about the Bootstrap controls. There is a custom file control which is already there with the sample code. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this. That's it. I copied the whole HTML, so the control ID and everything is the same. So if I copy this, it should work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and put it into my initialize code. The initialize will, okay. So the initialize method will call the same function to set the file variable or the file control. In that way, it uses the file control to use it. Since it is a TypeScript, there you need to slightly modify the code. If you see here, it always complains that there is no method called split. So in those scenarios, what I do is usually I will declare a variable which is any. So any is a word, any is like any type, and I am going to make use of this .val. Okay, this .val, and this is the value, and if you use after that, it should work. Okay, because TypeScript doesn't know, it trying to find out the method, but it could not. But change it into any and then call the method, it should eventually should find out. So now the upload control will work, but if you see that this upload control is only to set the file name here, as in the Bootstrap, when you say browse, let me give you an example. So for example, it's a PnP, so it will just set the file name here. That's the only job it does. It doesn't upload a file there. So to upload a file, I'll have to write a PnP JS code. This code is just for this JavaScript code is just to set the file. Okay, so you should not be get confused with that. So to upload a file, I need to write again a PnP code. Let me go back to the code, and now I'm going to declare another function. I'll just declare right away here, public static upload picture. Okay, I'm going to use this method. So the upload picture method, I'm going to find out the variable, the control, HTML control, and pass the file into the PnPjs. So for that, what I should do is I need to get the file first. Okay, so this is the code to get the file. Again, declare any variable, find out the HTML file input control, assign into the variable, and then use the files method. It's an array of control, but we are allowing it to select only one file, so it is files of 0. Once you get the file, you need to use your SPFnp method. So sp.web.get folder by server relative URL. Okay, I'll get the document library first. Any file which I want to upload it into the site assets folder, site assets library. So there is a site assets library. I want to upload all the picture into that site assets library. Then I would use .files.add. The file.add method will take the file name, which is like I already have file name, and then the whole blob or the chunk of the file, and whether you want to batch or not. So I'll just say it is overriding. Yes, correct. So once it is done, then it is always done, and you will always have a return type. Return type is the data or result. It's up to you. You can declare any variable, and it is a function. I'm going to get the output of it to do something. Okay, oops, to do something on that. The output, what I'm going to do is, once it is successfully uploaded, I need to get the URL of the picture which is uploaded and set it into the control which I mentioned in. So in my case, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get the value of this. Okay, the value of this, and set the data to a relative path. So this is the data which it returns. Maybe I'll put it as result, or it will be confusing. Result. Okay, result dot, there is a variable called data, and there is one property which is called server relative URL. So this server relative URL will give you the path of the file which is uploaded, but without a domain name or the site URL. So later I will show how to get the site URL. So now when a picture is uploaded, it will set the path to this, and this path is used to set it into the list item. And now most of the operations are done. We need to call this upload method on some click, right? So the upload button, you need to get the upload button ID and then set it there. So upload button ID, which is right now the upload button ID is upload picture. It is on the step 2. So step 2, upload button ID. Okay, custom file, and then I'm uploading it here, the input and the button class, upload picture. Okay, upload picture. This is the ID of the upload picture. So now what I should do is, when someone click on this upload button, upload picture button, I need to trigger the upload picture method. So I need to get this ID and call the upload method. So for that, I'm going to use the jQuery again to do that. So once I initialize this, I'm going to call which is hash upload pic is the thing, and on click of method. Okay, on click of this method, I'm going to initialize and call organism class dot upload picture. That's it. Okay, this should work. So in the initialize method, initialize controls, I'm just initializing the upload control click method and calling the upload picture. That's it. So now the upload process should work, and it should set the server relative path. But this server relative path is again just the picture URL. I need to get the full URL, including the site URL. The site URL, you can always get it from this context. So for example, what I'm going to do is, this contact is always available in the main web part. So I'm going to use that to pass it through. So for that, what I'm going to do is that, let me go back to this, and I need to have another variable to store that. Let me go back, go up. Okay, let me declare another variable, which is public static. Maybe I put it as web URL equal to null, which is string. Okay, which is null, and this web URL, I'm going to use it in the main web part. This is the main web part inside the render method. After this, I'm going to even HTML dot web URL is equal to this dot context dot page context, and inside the page context you have a web object. The web object will have an absolute URL. So this URL will give you the site URL. You need to combine the site URL with the relative URL to get your full picture path. So once you get the full picture path, then things should be okay. So where is the full picture path? Is here. So I'm setting it right away here, inside here. Okay, this is the place. So here what you should do is you should set your picture path in a full format. So for that I'm going to copy that variable, which is organism class dot web URL, and then append with this. That's it. Okay, so the upload control is wired up now. Let me test the upload control. It should work, hopefully. Okay, build completed. I'm going to test it out. Okay, let me browse some picture, which is maybe WebWizard PnP, and let me go to site assets. Where is site assets? Okay, site assets. There are some pictures already which I've been testing around, and this picture should not be there. So now I'm going to upload wizard2.png. So hopefully it should work. Okay, perfect. It works now. So it has uploaded the picture. Once it has finished uploading, it had the full URL of the picture, and this full URL of the picture should be working. Let me go back to the site assets and get the file. It should be there. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, it is here. It should be the picture. Okay, part 2, original picture. So it is uploading as we are working on it. Let me stop this, and we have wired these controls, and the upload control is working. And the next process is that if you see this web interface, I'm going to type the organism name, organism scientific name, family, order, genus, species. So whenever I click next and then upload a control, next, those values should appear here in the preview. And also when I do the next, it should appear here in this as well. So each one has the ID as well. So what I'm going to do is when I do the next, I am setting the value which you type on the first screen into these controls. So let me work on that now. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the wizard method, which has show step. Probably let me go to the SmartWizard has a method which is called the show step. You can initialize that and then start processing that event. So basically it is an event which is triggered whenever you start moving into move between the wizard. So let me initialize that after here. Okay, this is the right place. So I'm going to again to the initialize control function, and this is the event which is triggered whenever you navigate between different. Let me copy this and then put it here. Okay, this is the method it would be called, and this method, what it does is, let me close this or else will be a bit problematic. So this is a kind of an event which will be triggered whenever user navigate from next. Show step is the event which is triggered when the step is shown. So I'm going to process this. Let me do okay. So now what I'm going to do is whenever the first step is completed and the second step is shown, Then I'm getting the value of the upload picture path and then just setting it in the source and the other variables. And also similarly, when it has passed through the second step, the step number here starts from 0. Remember that it starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So in my case, here the step number 3 is actually the step 4, the last summary. And you can see that I have an ID. So I'm just setting the value from the first screen. The first screen is always like org name. I'm setting it to the summary org name in this case. So it's just a variable assignment. So whenever the step is shown. Okay. So now it is done. So whenever you navigate between, you should be able to see your values between the steps. I'm going to build it again. So by the time it is building, let me check the code. Yeah, should be fine. Build completed. So now I'm going to refresh this. When I refresh, okay, let me add human being. Oops, human, just human. Scientific name Homo sapiens. Family, for now I just put it as Mammalia. And then order is, genus is Homo sapiens. Okay. And the picture, I'll just choose the same picture and upload it there. It is overridden. Whenever I click next, see here. So I'm just setting the variables. So the picture and the text is already here. Looks pretty much good. And when you go to the summary again, you should see here. Okay. Right now it is not collapsing and expanding. So you need to program or you need to call some script to make it to collapse and expand. And finally, there is a submit button. We have not wired the submit button yet. So we are going to wire up that now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire up the submit method. So wiring up a submit method, submit, we already have a method. So what you should do is like an upload picture. You just have to get the ID of the submit button and just call the submit method. So usually I just use the console operation just to know that I'm clicking in. Then I'm just calling the submit method. Remember the last summary screen, the collapse and expand is not working. So to make it to work, you will have to get the header of that, and on the click of the header, you should make it to work. So what I'm going to do is, that is mandatory step. So I can put that here as well. That's the first step I can do. Okay. So this code is just to expand and collapse on the summary screen. Whenever the person click on the header 2, which is at the bottom of the header, when they click on it, I'm just, maybe I comment that, you don't need this. I'm just getting the collapse to and making it to toggle. That's it. This is a method from the bootstrap.js. So make sure that the bootstrap.js is imported, or else you would get error when you run this. That's why you have a require bootstrap in the main web part. So you just get the header and then just say collapse. That's it. And expand. This should work. Just save that to compile again or build again. Wait for it to complete. Build is done. I'm going to refresh. I'll have to enter the values again to show. No choice. But human, scientific name is Homo sapiens, and then genus is Homo, and sapiens, Homo sapiens. Next. let me use the same picture. I don't want to. Okay, it works. Next, the picture is there. Next, values are there. Okay, see now the accordion is working, and the basic details is another accordion. All the values are being set, and you can expand and collapse the other variable here. I'm just showing the picture which you are uploading, and this is the text which I've entered. All are read-only controls. I just use the same bootstrap and set as read-only. That's it. So if you see my code, the HTML code at the footer, so everything I just set the control as read-only. See here the text area, which is the description field, I just set it as read-only. It's again the same control. You just say dot value. Okay, and the control is there. Hopefully on the submit it should work. Please work. Okay, so see here alert method is called, which is the successfully added organism, which is the human. You can see it here, and when I click OK, it should be in the list. Usually what the people does is, once you click OK, you can reset this wizard. There is a method called reset for this wizard. You can reset the wizard, but you need to write a code to clear that variables or the controls, because those controls values will be still there. So you'll have to set it to null or do something else. But certain times what I do is I'll just refresh the page or reload the page again. That will solve most of the issues. Okay, so that any temporary cache or anything in the website, so it's all gone, because you don't need that values anymore once it is uploaded. If you see now, I should see the human. Yeah, this is the one which is uploaded right now. So you can see here, just to make sure that it is done now, a few seconds ago. Okay, modified few seconds ago. I'm not just so this is the description. This is the, so it has set all the fields. Okay, so this is about inserting the variable, uploading it using the PnPjs and the SmartWizard. So this is the end of the part 3 series on the SmartWizard. If you like this video, please subscribe, and more SPFx samples would be coming in. Help me to subscribe, like, and share the videos. So that would be much helpful for me. Please look out into the description for the full source code on this sample 3. So basically the sample 3 will be the full working code. Okay. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, like, share.